Hello there, one and all. Welcome to Slapendipity, Hobos of Happy Slappy Town, episode 81. I am Eric, who you may call Eric, and with me is Gibby, who you may call Devon. You might be wondering, Eric, you sound kind of hyped up, and that is because I am compensating. Who am I compensating for, Devon?
You're compensating for me because I feel a little sick.
A little sick. So, with that in mind, we have much to get to, and by much to get to, I mean last episode Devon teased a certain teaserino, didn't you?
Last episode I mentioned that before this episode, we would be going to our next speed dating event, which we've done, I forgot when the previous one was. It's been a few months.
It's been a few months.
We always do a little post-event breakdown. And it's, you know, as I always say whenever we start this conversation, when people go speed dating, they do not, they should be able to reliably assume that the person they're speaking to is not then going to spill secrets about them on the internet on a podcast. So we will not be doing any sort of, like, personally identifying information, just, like, general vibes.
Yes. It will be maybe some complaints, maybe some general feedback, maybe some criticisms.
Of the event, not of the humans.
Oh my gosh. Yes, of the event.
Specify.
Unless...
No, everyone this time was fine.
Yeah. So, I forget how in-depth we go into this, but we went to a bar, and for me, it was my first time going to a speed date at a bar specifically, which I'm curious if you, I think we've told this when you go, at least how we operate within the speed dating world, you get like a little voucher that's like a free drink, and it can be used for whatever the place sells, right? So we've gone to a coffee shop, so you can get a coffee or a tea or a hot chocolate or whatever. You know, normal coffee shop stuff. This, being a bar, you could get a drink of $5 or less value. And, you know, maybe that's just a nice tea. Maybe it's a soda. Maybe it's a cheap alcohol. Fun way to say alcohol. Try it out.
Alcohol.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
Yes. Moderately. What did you get?
I got an California iced tea.
I got seltzer water with ice.
Wow. I noticed some people did get alcohol.
Yes, I saw people with bottles of beer or cocktails.
Yeah. Which, you know, one drink, I think, for the most part, very generalizing, like, most people are okay with one drink. But, you know, depending on who you are, maybe, yeah, that's enough to loosen you up, get the juices flowing, get your mojo going, if you will. And I thought that was kind of interesting because, like, oh, this, you know, lady I'm talking to, she's, like, really, like, extroverted or outgoing and being kind of silly. Is that because she's like that normally, or is this one alcohol impacting her that much? Which I, you know, and not in any like unpleasant way, but you know, it's first impressions. You're meeting someone for the first time, and you just get curious, like, oh, how are you normally?
Yeah, so I've talked about my general dislike of people drinking alcohol. But I agree that, like, if you're going to a speed dating and you have, like, one or two drinks to loosen up, that's, like, really bad. Because, like, then you're not being... Like, you gotta be yourself on speed dating. Because if you're gonna, like... If you're gonna lie, if you're gonna put forth a, like, different version of yourself, then, first of all, you could sort of scare away people who would otherwise have liked you. But even the people who do like you, when they go on the first date, like you're going to be a different you, and so now you may not be as compatible. Like the one time that you should be completely open and honest is on early dates, as opposed to like I don't know, masking it by being tipsy. I think that's a very silly a silly plan. I think you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, and this is why, like, this is, like what, for someone like me who is a bit chubs, if you will, if I have one alcohol, it does nothing to me. Depending on the type. Let's say it's a beer, I guess. Like, one bottle of beer, I feel nothing. But there is a social convention, you're at a bar, you want to appear fun, so then you order a drink that is alcoholic, and then you're like, because then you're trying to be like, hey, I'm hip and with it, and, I'm not a square. So it's an interesting little thing. And I, to a certain extent, just because they're a little more forward or whatever, doesn't mean, like, I think you could still see the normal person behind it all, you're like, okay, well, you're talking with this vocabulary, so you probably use it normally in your, when you don't have a drink. I don't think it affects it that much, is my point. But regardless, it was interesting to see who and who did not drink, and just making little notes to myself as I sipped my California iced tea.
Yeah, I had, I think 3 women ask what I got to drink, because when we moved tables, like, when you finish the drink, you still got to kind of take it with you. So I'd be moving around this empty tumbler of ice, and so as just part of the sort of conversation, part of the small talk in the beginning, they'd be like, oh, what was your drink? And all 3 times I was like, well, it was seltzer water, now it's just ice, waka waka.
Wow.
And so yeah, I don't know what they thought about that, but yeah, no, it was just ice. It was just seltzer water.
It was just ice. I remember at that point, it was time, just ice. But at a point, towards the end of the night, there were more men than there were women, so the men got to take breaks, and during one of the breaks, towards the end, you were like, Eric, can you get me more seltzer water? And I was like,
specify. You had a break. I did not have a break.
Oh, yes,
That's why I had you do it.
Yes. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I go to the bar, get a refill, bring it back to you. And then I didn't hear all of it, but the girl you were talking to just looked at me as I put the drink on the table.
Yeah, you walked up in the middle of the conversation, you plopped the drink on the table and walked away.
Yep.
And she just goes, good friend. And I said, yeah. I asked him for a refill. She's like, wow. And then we just continued.
Beautiful. I'm glad she thinks so. Thank you. I don't know. I wasn't going to hold it for 5 minutes. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's fine. It wasn't a problem. I do think this was your first speed dating event with the app that we use, as opposed to the old system of using a pencil.
Yes, a pencil and paper.
I like the pencil. I preferred the pencil. I could take notes.
Yeah, I missed taking notes, but at the same time, so with the pencil and paper, you had to circle yes or no, and then you got to take notes, and on the app, you just clicked heart or X, and you just did it right away, after talking to them, while in front of them, which I think is kind of crazy.
Staring them in the face, pretending.
Stare them in the face as you go,
If you go left, then it's bad. If you go right, it's good. So you have to, kind of maneuver it so they can't tell what you're doing.
But, I don't need notes because I'm liking them or not liking them right away. So shrug.
It made it more difficult for our conversations.
It made it more difficult for our conversation, yeah.
We'd be like, tell me about Tiffany. And I'd be like, well, she has 2 dogs, and she works in business finance at the government, and she loves soccer ball, and her favorite show is Friends. And you'd be like, yes, and if she was a puddle of water, she would be in the ground, and if she was a parrot, she doesn't think she'd fly because she'd be scared. And 17 times she's gone skydiving. And I'd be like, wow, we got completely different amounts of information from her, but now we both know everything.
Yes. My questions are not that weird.
What kind of body of water? I'm like, what is your job? What's your family like? What do you do for fun? And you're like,
listen,
what kind of body of water are you?
And every woman I have asked that has been like, that's a great question. I love that. And then they answer.
I think if someone asked me that question, I would also say, wow, what a great question. Because I'm using that time to think about my answer.
Well, that's what I will be like, hey, do you want me to go first to, like, provide an example or give you time to think? And then, it's 50-50. If you can't identify what body of water type you would be, are you even truly introspective?
They might just be bad at like public speaking and performing to be like, I forget every single kind of water that exists.
Oh no, I just mean in general. It doesn't have to be in the speed date. Like, you even an audience, listener, viewer, whomstever, take some time. Think, what type of body of water are you? And why? Are you a fjord? Are you a lake? Are you a hot spring? It goes on.
Are you a water fountain?
I guess a water fountain counts.
Anyway. When you go to like a baseball game, there's one part and it's like a mister because it's really hot. Sure. And so like sometimes by like the merchandise stand or by the hot dogs, you can like kind of walk through a mister to cool you down.
Yeah.
Are you a mister?
No, I mean, typically this is like not. If someone was like, I'm a sprinkler, I just wouldn't know what to do with that. Anyway, I don't want to get lost in the water sauce.
I can be your sprinkler system, Eric.
No thank you.
You remember that song, right?
I remember that.
Yes. Have I sung it on the podcast before?
If you have, it was a long time ago, and now everyone's going, what is Devon talking about? Is he sick? He should go to bed.
Okay, we honk schnoo. No, we were, me and my friend George, back when we did Let's Plays, we ad-libbed a song about water, and I think it's genius, and I still sing it to this day. And it starts with the lyrics, I can be your sprinkler system. I need your permission to continue, though, Eric.
Due to copyright reasons, you cannot sing it, but you can speak song it if you're something.
It's like a here's a dramatic poem reading. Ahem.
Yeah.
I can be your sprinkler system. I can be your water slide. I can be your beach umbrella, sitting waiting for the tide. I can be your leaky faucet. I can be your hot tub jet. I'll be anything you want, babe. Anything that makes you wet. Thank you.
Yes, clap.
It's my first published poem. It was published in a YouTube video 15 years ago.
It wasn't Slip and Slide in there somewhere?
Yes, Beach Umbrella Waiting for the Tide replaced whatever the original Slip and Slide lyric was. We've worked on it over the years.
I see. Speaking of beach umbrellas, I got nothing. I have no way to tie that back to speed dating.
Okay. Did you talk to anyone? Did any of your conversations go in directions you were not expecting?
I think 2 of them. My last 2 did. Because, the women started the conversation. in unusual ways. So, like, either, right, it goes one of three ways. Either I start the conversation, so I'm fully prepared and I know what I will talk about, or the woman brings up the conversation and she's like, work, job, or no, where do you live? What do you work? What are your hobbies? And, you know, that's pretty standard. And then the third route is a woman starting the conversation and being like, so if you were in a zombie apocalypse, what weapon would you use? And then, like,
water
baseball bat? That's not a weapon.
It's also not a body of water, and yet here we are.
And here we are. So one of the ladies, she started speaking in a British accent, and we are not in Britain or anything. We are in America.
Happy Slappy Town, USA.
I was like, she was very, like, silly, seemed kind of loose. Maybe she had drank an alcohol, who knows. And was speaking British, and she was like, oh no, like, something like, oh, I know I'm tired because, like, my British is slipping out. And I just matched her and did my own British accent and was like, oh, what do you mean? Blah, 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 blah. And
do your British accent. Do it.
No, it's bad. We have a British listener. I don't want to embarrass.
You got to finish the story with your British accent. You got to do it.
And see, now there's all this pressure, and I just can't.
But when
until
like
I have
a water
some...
fountain, the pressure builds up, and you just water
and you
everywhere.
let it out. Oh my gosh. It's gonna slip in and out of other accents, and we're all just gonna accept it, right? So she was like, "What?
Right.
I'm
being British.
Right, quite right." So she came to me with this energy, and I was like, oi, blimey, I'll match her energy, I suppose. And we did, and then she quickly ended it, because I think she was a bit embarrassed, and I was like, okay, I guess that's not what we're doing. And, and we just kept the conversation going and had a fun, casual time, and that's what we did. But I did not expect it to start that way. No, sorry. I just have to assume British slang.
Yeah, no, Surrey's in Britain. You got that right.
And that was basically that. And then the other woman was like, I forget how she opened it. I'm pretty sure she did. But she, at some point in the middle of the conversation, was like, oh, wow, we have such great chemistry. I can already tell. And I was like, mercy. Mercy me, oh my. And then she kept talking to me, and then the event ended, and she kept talking to me, and then you were waiting on me, and I was like, I need to go. I'm sorry.
One of the guys there was like, hey, do you want to come up and like just chat at the bar, like get drinks and like have a chat at the bar? And I very much did not want to do that, so I excused myself to the bathroom and came back, and you had escaped.
Yes.
Yes, I was kind of awkwardly standing kind of like close to you over her shoulder. Earlier in the night, we were all switching tables, and you were still kind of talking to your date, and I watched her swipe yes on you. So I kind of walked by and whispered in your ear that like she had swiped yes. So I was kind of waiting for you guys to finish to see how she was going to swipe, which is not fully honest, and yet it doesn't really matter because like an hour from then we were going to learn what they said anyway. But I think, did you like shake her hand at one point?
Her?
I
think when we introduced ourselves.
Okay, I just remember you walking over and like shaking her hand like vigorously. I'm like, what's going on?
Oh shoot! Oh, I high-fived her because she was like, "Oh, okay. I play board games and card games," and I was like, "Yeah, let's go!" And I half high five, half predator handshake. She was super cool and fun, and it was a little weird because you weren't hovering over her yet, And the event had ended, and we were still talking, and this other guy came up to the table and looked at her and was like, extended his hand, and was like, I just wanted to say I had, like, a great time talking to you, and it was, like, a genuine pleasure. And she was like, oh, yeah, nice talking to you, too, and yeah, okay. And then her and I just went back to our conversation. I was like, okay, we're just not going to talk about that. That's fine. But you know the underlying drama behind all of this, the tension building up that no one else knew was tension.
Like a water fountain.
Right. Is that you liked this girl.
Yes, sometimes there's two buttons on a water fountain, one that kind of like shoots straight up and one that kind of curves.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's like tension, but there's like two things.
You have such a way with words.
I'm just trying to talk about water fountains, Eric. What are you doing? Anyway, yeah, so what Eric's getting at is that I swiped yes on that girl. But I didn't go up and shake her hand after this kind of, I don't know, a little forward. I think part of the expectation of a speed date is that, like, you might have someone who you really don't want to keep talking to, but it's not exactly comfortable to say that to their face, so they learn about it 2 hours later. Mm-hmm. So, like, for me to really like someone and walk up to them and talk to them after the event is kind of me being like, hey, talk to me now. And then they have to, like, reject me in person, which is not fun, and they shouldn't have to do that. Or, like, oh, I guess we'll kickstart things 2 hours early. Like, no, you just wait. So I don't like that guy did that. I found that very, I don't think unprofessional is the word, but it kind of goes against the spirit of the event.
Sure. There's a bit of a social contract and, like, the speed dating rules, and especially if you're doing it with, like, a company or something, and it's like, these are the rules, and it's like, you're all adults, no one's gonna be like, you can't approach someone after the event ends. But, it's social cues, I suppose.
Yeah. But I think that, like, a guy like that, his thought might be like, I really want to stick out in her memory, so what I'm gonna do is, like, say hi to her afterwards so she remembers.
And then again, I was there hogging up her time.
Maybe you saved her. Maybe in retrospect, maybe she was talking to you for so long because she wanted to wait for that guy to leave.
Maybe I was a tool to be used, and if so, I'm glad I could be of service.
Okay, so the conclusion we're kind of beating around the bush on is that I ended up matching with that girl.
Wow.
So if I end up meeting her in person and talking to her, maybe I'll ask her the conclusion to that story, like what her I think I'll just ask in general what her thoughts on someone approaching you at the event afterwards are, because again, I think that is no good.
Sure. Well, you know what I would want you to ask as well, and maybe people can leave a comment below to inform me of their perspective. Like, she did not match with me, and I'm okay with that. I don't care. But the thing that I do care about is she was like, oh, we have such great chemistry, and then we talked for like 10 minutes after the event ended, and it's like, to me, that's just mixed signals, and it's like, what? So why did you do this? Was I just an instrument to be used? If so, maybe. That's okay, but, like, maybe give me a heads up just so I'm not, like, I don't know. But perhaps I should have my expectations more managed and tempered, and just because I'm talking with someone does not mean X, Y, Z or the other thing. But, in the context of speed dating, that does kind of mean those things.
Yes.
But, just because the context is speed dating doesn't mean you can't overlook the greater context of being out in public in a social setting at a bar, no less. And, maybe you just have to keep all of it in mind and just take none of it too seriously. And I think that might be the ultimate.
In like a 5-minute speed date conversation, I do think that chemistry is important enough. Like, maybe if I felt that way about someone, it would be enough for me to give them, like, to check yes and then go on a real first date. So my thought is kind of like, okay, what if you said some big red flag thing in those 10 minutes afterwards? That's possibility number one. Maybe when she learns that you like Yu-Gi-Oh, she's like, oh no, never mind. And number two, I was expecting you to interject and say something there.
No, I mean, people should have their should be a little. It's a bit of a beige flag, I suppose, to like Yu-Gi-Oh. And maybe even red. Let's be real. They had to implement a hygiene policy at their tournaments, and I can't say anything about that. That's insane. Everyone should bathe frequently and or regularly.
Daily, yeah. Anyway, I think the other possibility is that she may have literally just forgotten to swipe yes on you.
Possibly.
Like, that's a possibility.
But, I mean, presumably you would then email the coordinators and be like, hey, Mr. Mrs. Coordinator, I would like, I forgot to match with Eric or like on Eric, and I would like to rectify that. So I am emailing you, and but that would apply a certain amount of care. I mean, and it's all water under the bridge, if you will, water to get into that fountain
under the bridge.
That's right. I'm never going to see this person again. So.
We have a water fountain under our bridge.
That's silly.
What we're talking about.
It is silly, though, because the river. Anyway.
I can't tell if you were being sarcastic just then.
And you'll never know now.
Okay. I'm trying to think about any, like, particular moments, again, without, like, divulging privileged information about any of these people. There's one person who basically the first thing she said was, I guess I don't like speed dating. This was, like, maybe the 7th or the 8th match. So then, like, the conversation was just, like, pulling teeth after that. So she said that, and I'm like, oh, okay. Where do you work? And then she kind of answers that, and then she kind of stares off in the distance, and then she goes, like, I much prefer meeting people at bars. I'm like, oh,
she was at a bar.
What do you do for fun? No, it wasn't. First of all, we were in, like, the restaurant section of the restaurant. Second of all, she was clearly like, I'm not going to meet someone this way, so she just didn't care. So she just didn't have a conversation. I think even if I sit down across from someone and I know I'm never going to mark yes on them no matter what, still have the conversation for 5 minutes. Maybe you'll learn something interesting.
You know what I might have done? It would be pretty bold, so I don't know if I would have done it. But if I was in that position that you were in, I would have just held out one hand in front of me, palm facing up, made a fist with my other hand, put it on top of that other hand, extended it outwards for some rock, paper, scissors. And then it's just like, what, you're not having fun? We're playing rock, paper, scissors or something. I don't know. You don't want to talk about it, and that's fine. We're gonna play best 7 out of 10 or whatever. However the math works.
Yeah. 6 out of 10. However the math works. What's more than 50%?
Well,
So I was about, I think 2 weeks ago, I've been cleaning my room / my office, and I've had these giant boxes in my office, and I can't get them out of the way, and they've like nowhere to go. So my office is very, very cluttered. But as I was cleaning, I was kind of looking around at all the stuff I have on my walls, and I was getting kind of hyped for the upcoming speed date. And I'm like, I wonder, like, if I meet someone and I have to bring them home, how, like, embarrassing it would be to step into this room for the first time. And so I'm looking around, and I'm like, which one of these is, like, the biggest red flag? And so I take 4 photographs, and I send them to our group chat, and I also post them on Twitter. And so one of them is of my, like, Taylor Swift wall. So just, like, Taylor Swift merch. Another is, I wanted something to, like, represent the Lego sets, so I specifically chose, like, Harry Potter. because other things people like Star Wars, people like they like Marvel and whatever. But like Harry Potter is very much more. I would just say it's more children focused than the other ones. So it's like, okay, it's Legos and it's children. Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift. And then I took a picture of the creation of Adam Chris Chan painting that I painted a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And then most recently, I've taken they released a Five Nights at Freddy's Fanta soda, so like you can get the can and it has Freddy on it. And so I bought a 12-pack of that, and I perfectly unfolded the box and I framed it to go along with my FNAF merch. Mm-hmm. So I have that in a frame. So I have a Freddy Fazbear Fanta frame. I have Lego Harry Potter, I have Taylor Swift merch, and I have the painting of Sonic 2. And so I post on Twitter and I say, I have a girl at the house. Which one of these do I hide if I only have 10 seconds? And it was almost unanimous that everyone said the Chris Chan one.
Yeah. It is easily the worst one.
Which, like, I guess not, like, at the end of the day, you can't hide any of them. But I do think the Freddy one is the weirdest. The Harry Potter one's the most childish. The Taylor Swift one might be a red flag to some people, but at the same time, it's like... I think if I met, like, a creepy guy who said he liked Taylor Swift, I might be more creeped out, but if I met a normal guy who liked Taylor Swift, I'd say that's cool. So it just entirely depends on how they... have, like, their vibes. Also, the Chris Chan one is like, well, but it's a real painting. I really painted it. It's cool. I like...
Yes, but what you chose to paint, you know... here's my thoughts, right? I think with Taylor Swift, like you said, right? If the person's creepy, it's creepy. If they're normal, it's fine. And there's just no way to know until you're there. The Fanta Freddy Fazbear 12-pack case or whatever, like, it's and you framed it, which I'd say that's the weird part.
No, really.
But also, like, I don't know, people collect soda cans and beer cans and beer bottles and stuff like that. So it's, like, not that far out there. And then for Harry Potter, I would say it is not for children. The target audience was children, but the only people that engage with Harry Potter nowadays are adults, I would suspect. Mostly, at least.
I'd say just based on pure population size, there's more adults than children, and both of them like it. So, I get that.
Yeah, but, like, children aren't reading Harry Potter. They're reading...
Yes, they are.
They're reading, I don't know, whatever the new Hunger Games is. No one's being like, ooh, I'm gonna read this vintage book. Like, get out of here.
No, their parents are reading it to them.
I don't know.
Anyway, so, like, yes, I agree that that's, like, the answer. But what I started getting was DMs and comments.
Oh, no.
About the post itself.
Okay.
So, once again, the post was... and this is actually why I ended up deleting it. It said, I have a girl over and I only have 10 seconds to hide one of these. Which one do I hide? Mm-hmm. Right, that was the post. Do you see the problem with the post?
People would assume it's not a hypothetical?
Yeah, people started congratulating me about having a girl over. And I was like, no. You don't know how to read a hypothetical question. Right?
This is why... You should have put hypothetically, comma.
It's a tweet! You have so many characters. Imagine putting the word hypothetically.
People don't know how to read! No offense, but not our fans. Our fans love reading, and they know how to, and they're so smart.
Remember the episode of How I Met Your Mother where there was, like, an annoying guy who always asked, like, stupid hypothetical questions? And so he'd just walk in a room and be like, you're on a roller coaster with, like, a scared girl and a puppy. What do? Go. So,
sure.
Like, for me, the formation of the question, I have a girl over and I only have 10 seconds to hide one of these. What do? Is inherently a hypothetical question. You don't need the word if I were to have a girl over and only had 10 seconds to hide, what would I do? No, it's inherent to the function of the question that it's a hypothetical situation.
I understand, but reading comprehension can be difficult sometimes.
Especially among
also, like, Twitter tone, I wouldn't, Anyway,
I deleted it because I'm like, what if like this person Googles me and they go to my Twitter and they think I had a girl over last week?
Just like, wow, Devon, you're
quite the
so
player.
cool.
No.
What's your socials? Oh.
Yeah, so that was I don't know, an interesting linguistic thing. Okay, so I guess we have two questions for our audience this week. One, do you think it was fair for people to... Do you think it was fair for me to assume people would understand that was a hypothetical? And two, what kind of water fountain are you?
No, body of water.
No, water
body
fountain.
Of water.
Specifically water fountain.
Body of water. I will break your water fountain.
You can answer both, but like, what kind of body of water are you?
Answer both.
And as a water fountain, what kind of water fountain are you?
What type of water fountain are you, Devon?
I think one of those outdoor ones with the metal basin and the water kind of shoots like more upward. And it has like a Yellowstone, like a base.
Okay. Interesting.
Are you one of the ones that like fills up a water bottle?
No.
What are you?
I am a water fountain that is like a like in the middle of a plaza with like some creatures or objects in the center as like the water spills out into a basin.
That's not a water fountain. That's just a fountain.
Yes, it is.
That's a fountain.
That's all. Yeah, with water.
A drinking fountain. We're talking about drinking. Oh
my god! Well, you're not. You've only said water fountains. Yes, get out of here.
No one calls a fountain a water fountain. A water fountain or a drinking fountain are the same thing. Chat, leave me in the comments. If someone said water fountain, would you think like a fountain in a plaza, or would you think the thing you drink out of?
I think you, just like your Twitter, you set yourself up for disappointment.
Some people call them bubblers.
Excuse me?
Some places in the Midwest call water fountains bubblers.
People in the Midwest are weird.
Okay. And with that, now that we've insulted
weird is good. Weird can be good.
1% of our audience, I don't know. Do you have anything else?
Don't replace water in water fountains with any other liquid. It wasn't made for it. It wasn't intended. And if you do like a soda, the syrup will make it all sticky and gunky and you'll hurt the water fountains. And we're not about that here.
Okay, I have one more thing.
Okay.
So we're going to speed dating, and earlier in the day I had to record stuff for YouTube. So I was always planning on like changing right before we left because my clothes would be all like gross.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of shirts that are just my merch because I have to always order a test print before I sell them. So okay. I have like 7 to 10 shirts that are just my merchandise, which means I don't really have to have other kinds of shirts. So I have one nice shirt that does not have a picture of Freddy Fazbear on it. And I'm like, I will wear that to the speed date. And I go to put it on, and I can't find it. So I'm panicking, because I'm already late to pick you up. I don't have a shirt. So I put on something that's slightly too small, and we get in the car, and I'm like, Eric, we have to go to the mall before the speed date, because we're going to be like 4 hours early, which was the plan. We were going to get dinner first. Look, we have to go to the mall. I need to get a shirt. So we go to the mall. I end up picking up a nice polo shirt. It was pretty cheap. I liked it. It looked good. And while we're there, I was also like, my hat is like really ratty, and it's like very discolored from being in washing machines and being sun
I believe in you.
Stained. Sun washed.
Damaged by the sun.
Damaged by the sun. There's a word for it. Anyway, hat doesn't look good. I'm like, okay, so while we're here, I'll just like buy a hat too. So I got a nice new hat, and by nice new hat I mean just a black baseball cap. So we go speed dating and blah blah blah. It's all going good, and I'm talking to one girl, and a couple people actually asked me like what I did before the date, which it's like it's a Friday evening, so like I think most people's response would be that they were at work. So I don't know why they were asking. But they're like, oh, what'd you do before this? And I said, oh, I went to the mall with my friend. And she goes, oh yeah, you bought that hat. And I'm like, oh no, how dare he?
I didn't know.
Why would you tell someone this information?
Because she asked me, what did you do before this? And I was like, I went to the mall with my friend. Oh, okay, cool. What'd you do at the mall? I was like, well, he needed to buy a hat. I don't know.
Making me look like a slob in front of her. Oh, gee,
no.
He doesn't even have a hat. He cares so little about his appearance that he didn't buy a hat until 5 seconds before the speed date. How will he ever take care of our children?
Well, that's aggressive. That's wildly aggressive.
You ruined our match, Eric.
I don't think I did. What?
I said I didn't end up saying yes to her anyway, so it didn't end up mattering.
Oh, yeah.
But still, it's the principle of the thing.
I don't know, man. What am I gonna do? Lie? I can't lie.
And with that, thank you all for watching episode 81 of Slapendipity, Hobos of Happy Slappy Town, episode 81. I'm going to go take some Advil and go to sleep.
Remember, if you lie, your nose grows. Goodbye, everybody.